14 years ago, Call of Duty introduced Black Ops, and in Black Ops, there was a brand new map known as Nuketown. This map would change Call of Duty forever, for many reasons. First of all, this was an extremely tiny map, something players really weren't used to at the time, and on top of it, it was different than any other map in the game. It was bright, vibrant, colors popped, and on top of that, it had a really cool motif. This map took place at a nuke testing facility. Somewhere in the desert, nukes were being tested at this site to see the effect that they had on the world. Now, fast forward 14 years later, and now we have the return of Nuketown, but not just a new version of Nuketown like we've seen in almost every other Black Ops game. This is a version of Nuketown that is a remake of the original. As you can see on screen, these are side-by-side comparisons of the map from 14 years ago and the map that we have today. The similarities are uncanny, and they kind of just doubled down on the original version, making it more bright, more vibrant, but really more of the original Black Ops Nuketown. Now, you may be wondering where this map came from, and the rumor goes like this. It was inspired by Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull. There is a scene in that movie where Indiana Jones is working his way through this seemingly town, but there are mannequins scattered throughout, and all of a sudden he realizes he's in a nuke testing facility, and there's a nuke about to go off. He saves himself by jumping into a refrigerator, and the nuke goes off. The similarities between this movie and the original Nuketown are absolutely uncanny, and you can definitely see where the inspiration came from. Now, in this video, what we're going to be doing is going through every single version of Nuketown, looking at the map as a whole, where it takes place, how it takes place, and more specifically, the thing that Nuketown does that really no other maps in Call of Duty do is an Easter egg. Each of these maps has their own Easter egg, they're all different, and different maps have a different amount of them. Some of them have a ton of them, some of them just have one or two. And you'll see what I mean as we move through the various different games. Also this year with Black Ops 6, we actually got an origin story for Nuketown. It's not out yet, it's coming with Season 1, and that's Area 99, which just so happens to be a Warzone map, which we'll take a look at closer towards the end of the video. So yeah, Nuketown is back, but for this video, we have to go 14 years back. Black Ops 1, this map takes place in the 1950s. It is a 1950s testing facility for nukes. And the rumor goes Rome wasn't built in a day, but Nuketown was built in 2 days. Now, Nuketown has been in every version of Black Ops. Different variations were put in, but one of the Easter eggs that remained the same throughout was the Nuketown sign. The Nuketown sign had a population counter, and as more people spawn in or more people died, that population counter would adjust to be the amount of people that are alive on the map. The other notable Easter egg was the RCXD track. So outside the map, you could actually take your RCXD through the fence, over a jump, and into the enemy spawn to get bonus kills, making the RCXD maybe a better kill streak on this map than any other map in the game. The mailboxes were also interesting because in front of each of the two houses there was a mailbox, one of them displaying Mason's name and the other displaying Woods' name, two of the main characters from the campaign. Now, one thing that also changes on every version of the map is how the mannequins are stylized, themed for the time period of the game. And then there was the one that would change the Nuketown Easter egg forever. There is an Easter egg if you shoot off every single mannequin's head on the map in under 15 seconds. So in other words, you basically needed your full team or both teams to be doing this. Sympathy for the Devil by the Rolling Stones would play across the entire map. Why that song? I have no idea, but this was just the beginning for Nuketown Easter eggs. In Black Ops 2, the map got a little more interesting because the map was called Nuketown 2025, but it was stylized after the 1960s. What's crazy is this map taking place in 2025 means it takes place next year. Now, quoted as being the town of the future, the Black Ops 2 version, Nuketown 2025, featured a more futuristic version of the 60s than has ever been seen before. Some of the same Easter eggs once again returned in this game. First of all, the mailboxes once again returned, toting Mason and Woods as the helm owners. I also have to say this, but we're not going to focus on it. In Black Ops 2, they also implemented a Nuketown Zombies map. Now, whether you liked or hated this map, it was absolutely there, but for this video, we're going to try to focus on the multiplayer side of things and the Easter eggs involved in that. The RCXD track also returned in a very similar way where you could drive outside of the map and get into the enemy spawn. However, one of the things that changed was the Nuketown sign. This would be something that would change in every version of the map. However, in this one, it would display a tube TV with once again the population counter. However, remember the mannequins? Yeah, the mannequin Easter egg that we talked about? This time you had a total of 2 minutes to shoot off all of the mannequins' heads. And if you were to do so, it would turn the Nuketown sign into an arcade machine where you could actually go in and play various different Activision old arcade titles. And a lot of these arcade titles were actually used for the reveal of Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, which is kind of interesting. So at this point, we have seen 2 versions of Nuketown, but the question is, what were they going to do with it when Call of Duty went back to the future? This is Nuketown 3, Black Ops 3 Nuke. I don't know what they called this one, but they put a 3 instead of an E, and I don't know how to say it properly. But this is Nuketown in Call of Duty Black Ops 3. You thought the last one was futuristic? Well, take a look at this. So the thing that was interesting about Black Ops 3's multiplayer is there was kind of a built-in story with it, where the entirety of multiplayer took place within DNIs. In other words, little computers put inside of everyone's brain, which actually doesn't seem so far into the future anymore. But yeah, what this means is these maps took place in a simulation, and this will be amplified on this map. In fact, when the nuke goes off at the end of a game on this, it says Nuketown offline at the end, as if the simulation has gone offline. I'm just gonna say it right away, Nuketown 2065, yeah, that's the year this map takes place, is probably my favorite version of Nuketown. It looks the most different in my opinion than the other ones, super futuristic. I love the way the mannequins look in this one, bright and vibrant colors, and really there's nothing around the outside. This is just the simulation of it. And on top of that, this is some of the most Easter eggs out of any of the Nuketowns. Starting off, we have the Nuketown sign, which has been updated to look like it's from 2065. This is the only version of Nuketown that has ever been created that does not have the RCXD track that goes outside of the map, but you could drive RCXDs on walls in this game, so pick your poison. Now we also have a couple of Easter eggs that play homage to the original Nuketown maps. The first of which, in one of the houses, you can find the original Nuketown sign, it's all its glory, and in the other building on one of the shelves, you can see the mannequins from the Black Ops 2 or the 60s version of Nuketown. In the middle of the map, you can find a screen that displays the original names of the first 3 Nuketowns: Nuke 3 Town, as we discussed before, Nuketown 2025, and simply Nuketown. Now the mailboxes on this map actually changed because the main characters in Black Ops 3 are not Woods and Mason, but this time Hendrix and Corvus, 2 of the main characters within Black Ops 3. Now the mannequin Easter egg in this map is cooler than any other map. First of all, if you shoot off all of the heads of the mannequins in this game, immediately they would spawn in and start attacking you, which in and of itself was pretty darn cool. But on top of this, there is so much more than this, because if you shot off the heads and the arms in a given amount of time, they would once again attack you, but only if you weren't looking at them. The minute you would look at them, they would stop moving and stop attacking you. This was considered the Weeping Angels Easter egg, and interestingly enough, in the Black Ops 6 campaign, in the mission Emergence, this was brought back once again with some of the mannequins inside the facility of Advanced Technologies and Applications Division. So after this futuristic game, we were going to go to another futuristic game, but this time the map is not going to be futuristic. That is Black Ops 4. Now, in a bout of foreshadowing, Black Ops 4 went with the Cold War vibe for their Nuketown map. Taking place in Russia this time, you could see all of the mannequins outfitted with Russian garbs, hats, things along those lines, and the Nuketown side was completely recreated for this as well. But once again, toting that population counter one more time. The Nuketown RCXD track once again returned in this map. This time, instead of going outside of the map, it actually went underneath the map. And this is when you could see for the first time that this was not a nuke testing facility, but rather this version of Nuketown was a nuke launch facility. This was shown when you did the mannequin Easter egg. This time when you shot off all of the heads of the mannequins, in the middle of the map, a nuke would launch, not detonate, in the middle of the map. And then, falling from the sky, mannequins would drop in then the mannequins would attack you. There was also another version of Nuketown in Black Ops 4. This one is actually not in multiplayer, but rather in Blackout. It was one of the locations that took place on an island in the Battle Royale mode here. Underneath, there was kind of bunkers that you could go into, and zombies would actually spawn in this area as well as the tip of the hat to the old zombies map. Now, once again, this is not multiplayer, so we're not going to dive too much further into this, but I just wanted to point out that it was there. The mailboxes once again returned, and this game didn't have a campaign, so this time they used Russian characters from previous Black Ops games, specifically Reznov and Petrenko. The final Easter egg on this one is there was a slideshow playing in one of the houses that displayed a bunch of old Black Ops maps, most of which ended up actually coming to the game. So if you guys are enjoying this type of video and like kind of the history of Call of Duty, show me by hitting that like button, and maybe we could continue this series in the future with other maps, weapons, things along those lines. Just show me by hitting that like button. But speaking of the Cold War version of Nuketown, the next game is Black Ops Cold War. So Black Ops Cold War has, I would say, the least amount of Easter eggs of any of the maps, but one of the most interesting ones. But as far as the aesthetic of this map, it actually takes place in the 80s, but it is a run-down version of the original Nuketown from Black Ops 1. So it takes the 50s version and is essentially 30 years later overrun by raiders and vagabonds, that kind of thing, and is once again back in the desert. Once again, the RCXD track returns. You can drive outside of the map once again, sneak into your enemy's spawn, and blow some people up. Now on this map, in my opinion, the coolest Easter egg is not the mannequins, but there is a mannequin Easter egg. Once again, if you shoot off all of the heads on the mannequins, the map then turns into this monochromatic kind of blue themed map, and that happens for everyone playing on that map, which is kind of cool. And if you do the arms and the head, this time it actually turns green. So two kind of cool aesthetics on the map, which I'm guessing most of you probably never saw. However, the coolest Easter egg on this map actually ties into Black Ops 6, because if we go ahead and look at the Nuketown sign, once again it has the population counter displaying the amount of people on the map, but this time on the Nuketown sign it says Site B. Now you may be wondering what that means, and if we go into the garage in Nuketown, you can see a map, one labeled A and one labeled B. And if we go off into the distance and look in the background of the Nuketown map, we can actually find an enormous crater in the direction of Site A. Site A being the original Nuketown from Black Ops 1, where we see the nuke go off. Now, this is super interesting because it ties directly into Black Ops 6 and the origins of Nuketown. So in Black Ops 6, we have an origin story for Nuketown, and that comes with the new Warzone map, oddly, which is titled Area 99. This is where Nuketown was created. It is also in the desert, and there are various different buildings that create the Nuketown signs, the buildings themselves, or even a mannequin factory, which is kind of cool. I'm assuming there's going to be more Easter eggs on this map as well once it comes out with Season 1, but what we know for now is that this is the origin of Nuketown. They were created here and then shipped around the world for nukes to be tested on. Speaking of which, this brings us into the multiplayer map. So as far as this map goes, this is once again the 1950s version of Nuketown from the original Black Ops 1. But there are a lot of Easter eggs on this one. Once again, that kind of OG Nuketown with the population counter on it once again returns. So as far as the mailbox, we have Archie. Archie is the kind of mascot for Nuketown and Area 99 and the Echo Ridge testing facility. On the other side, the mailbox says Brady. Now I was wondering why it said this at first, but what I figured out is one of the houses outside of Nuketown was originally rumored to be designed after the house from the Brady Bunch, hence Brady being on the mailbox. However, if we go outside the map just a little bit, we can see that there are two other mailboxes. These are labeled Woods, and the other one is labeled Mason. Once again, another throwback to the mailboxes in the original Nuketown. Another thing that we can see on some of the shelves inside the buildings is an actual picture of Archie Adams alongside which are seemingly the founders of the Nuketown testing facility themselves. On the wall across the room from that, we have a calendar which seemingly shows a monolith which can also be found on the Verdansk Warzone map. On top of that, on 3 different areas on the map, we can find the OG teddy bear. If you don't know what this is, originally in Infinity Ward games, the teddy bear with the star on the chest was found on most of the maps in the old Infinity Ward games. It's interesting that it is found in 3 spots on this one as well. Now, what's interesting about this map is actually the area around it. If we go to the middle of the map, we can find various different sites on a map. You can see that there's like site A, site B, and the site that we are on as well. Remember how I mentioned that back in Black Ops Cold War? Well, yeah, this comes back once again. However, this time, if we fly off into the distance, we can see several different things, including a bunch of craters where nukes have gone off, on top of that other Nuketown areas, as well as the map of Warhead, which is also in Black Ops 6. But if we take this a step further and fly way off into the distance, the other thing that we can find is an early design of Area 99. Now, it's not fully rendered in or anything of the sorts, but it's just interesting to see all of these: Warhead, multiple Nuketowns, and of course Area 99 all in one set area. This area being the Echo Ridge weapon testing facility. And then finally, we have the mannequin Easter egg. It wasn't there at launch, but it is there now. Once again, if you shoot all the heads off the mannequins on the map, I believe it's under a minute and a half. What ends up happening is they basically put you into a TV shoot. The mannequins start spawning in and once again attacking you, and off to one side of the map, you can see a bunch of mannequins sitting on some bleachers watching what are going on. If you kill mannequins, they start to laugh or boo, and in several areas around the map, various different TV stations spawn in with Nuketown TV placed around the map. And ladies and gentlemen, that is every Easter egg on every Nuketown map that has ever been in a Black Ops game. If you liked the video, I'd much appreciate it if you hit that like button. It would also show me that you want to see more videos like this one in the future. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe, turn notifications on to stay up to date on everything Call of Duty. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, peace.
We are reaching for the stars, but we're making